Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray. Um, Appreciate you being here. It is Wednesday morning, hump day, as some people call it. Whatever, I guess. But anyway, appreciate you being here. You can follow me here on Rumble. You can also follow me on X at The Political Ray. Again, appreciate you being here. We got some stories coming out, some more Tesla news, more attacks, what have you. But we got a guy in Minnesota that gets let off for damaging 6 vehicles, assume, and a left-wing judge just not even a warning, just lets him go. But anyway, we'll get into that. And Tim Pool makes it to the White House, into the press pool, calls out the left-wing mainstream media, and I'm all here for it. I was more than happy for his question. I'm glad he got the chance to be there. I don't have a big enough following to be there. I've applied for it, but I don't think I'll get there. But anyway, we'll see. And we got artificial dyes. RFK JR comes out and says that artificial dyes will be going away in American food. I'm all here for that too. I'm one of those people that I look at the ingredients on food, and if it's got stuff I don't like in it, I'm not going to buy it. Wasn't always the case. It's only been recent that I've been more in tune to that, trying to, I could stand to lose a few pounds, eat healthier, that kind of thing. I'm trying. We'll see. I mean, like I said, I could stand to lose a few pounds. I already know that, but and military numbers are up pretty good. It's looking pretty good as far as military recruitment, and I'm happy about that. Being a former military person myself, I'm glad to see the numbers going up. I'm not sad about that at all. But anyway, we'll get into all of this, and I'll shrink myself down here. We'll just go ahead and get started. Oh, hold on, that's the wrong one. There we go. All right, now we've got this story about this guy. This is in Minnesota, and where is Governor Tim Walz when he's supposed to be advocating for people, his constituents, making sure that this kind of crap doesn't happen? Now, again, I will stress the fact that this is happening to Tesla owners, people who just simply bought cars back when the Democrats were pushing the EV mandates. And now that Elon Musk had been the head of the Doge team, everybody's all up in arms about it, even though that the Democrats were the ones pushing the EV mandates. I've stressed that a lot. I know I sound like a broken record at sometimes, but it's beyond me. But anyway, this is guy, okay? This guy has vandalized and damaged Tesla vehicles up to 6, is what they're saying. Now, new Minnesota Police Department rips far-left DA Mary Mariota for declining to charge a Minnesota government employee who caused $20,000 in damage to Teslas. No wonder why Minnesota is turning into a crap hole. Police provided evidence of a 33-year-old Dylan Brian Adams committing multiple felonies. However, Mariota declined to charge him. This is another one of those 80-20 issues. I know I've said it a lot before, but people are sick of this crap happening. And to let this guy, I mean, there's been a lot of arrests. There's been some consequences, and everybody knows me, knows I'm all for consequences. Actions have consequences. There needs to be repercussions for people's actions. This guy's a 33-year-old guy who can't keep his emotions in check and decides to go in and key Teslas and cause damage. Now, the Minnesota Police Department did its job. It investigated a crime trend, identified and arrested a suspect, and presented a case file to the Hennepin County Attorney Office for consideration of charges. Minneapolis Police Department Chief Brian O'Hara said, this case impacted at least 6 different victims, in total over $20,000 in damages. Any frustration related to the charging decision of the Hennepin County Attorney should be directed solely at her office. Look, this is a judge who allegedly she's a George Soros judge. Now, it does not surprise me. This is the chaos that they want. This is the division that the left is sowing. I think that these people should be set examples of. There should be none of this crap happening in the United States. People should not have to park their cars and worry about it being keyed or damaged or anything else simply because of the brand of the car that it is. It should not be happening. But these people cannot keep their emotions in check. Anyway, let's see if there's any sound to this one. I don't think there is. But look, this is a guy, $20,000 plus dollars in damage, 2 vehicles, to 6 different cars, simply because he can't keep his emotions in check. And every time he sees a Tesla, apparently he has to key it. These people are not, they're not okay. And the fact that this guy works, apparently he's alleged to be, what is that noise? I don't know what there's a humming. Anyway, sounds like it's going away. This guy, apparently he works for the governor's office. He works for Tim Walz. Now that, to me, maybe the fact that he actually does work in the governor's office, maybe that's why he got let off. But 6 different vehicles, over $20,000 in damage. This guy has to be arrested. He needs to be put in jail. I don't care who you are. But again, since he's working for the governor's office, the left has no repercussions for their actions. Anyway, I got a weird humming. I don't know what that is, that feedback. I don't know if it's feedback or what, but let me know if you hear that. Anyway, let's take a look at this. This is the judge. This is the judge in question. Now, you can see just by looking at this person, probably a leftist. You can tell just by looking at them. Now, that's not always the case, but usually you can tell just by looking, but, anyway, that's the judge. And apparently she just let him go. No repercussions, not even a warning. Just the only record on file at this point is the arrest record. There's nothing else as far as like court or anything else. It's just gone. So as long as you work for somebody within power on the left, you can just do whatever you want and get away with it. Again, consequences, for your actions. That's all I'm asking for. Anyway, another one here. Let's take a look at this one. This is breaking Soros-backed. Hennepin County Attorney Mariota says Dylan Bryan Adams will not be charged for allegedly causing $20,000 in damage vandalizing Teslas in Minneapolis. Absolutely infuriating. Yes, it is. There's no reason for somebody like this to get off scot-free for not being able to hold their emotions in check. You're an adult. Actions have consequences. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's take a look at the actual story here. And this is from Fox News, and we'll get into this here. Let's see. Now, Minnesota Department of Human Services data analysis, Dylan Bryan Adams will likely not face charges for allegedly vandalizing at least 6 Tesla vehicles, causing a total of $20,000 in damages. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office said it would seek diversion over charges. This is ridiculous. Stupid. Should not. Look, the guy has done damage to 6 different cars. 6. Hold him accountable. I don't care if he works for the governor. I don't care if it was the governor himself doing it. Hold these people accountable. It's not hard. Follow the law. The law has to be applied equally to everyone, including those in power. Right, left, whatever. Anyway. Our main priorities are to secure restitution for the victims and hold Mr. Adams accountable. Really? Because he should be in jail. As a result, we will file for pre-charge diversion to best facilitate both of the goals. However, he has also reportedly said that criminal consequences would be on the table should unlawful behavior continue. Do you think this guy's going to stop? He already got away with it. Look, this guy getting away with this incentivizes people to do it more. You think it's bad now? This guy getting off is just going to influence more people to do this kind of crap. Hopefully I'm wrong, but pre-charge diversion allows individuals accused of committing crimes to avoid prosecution by participating in a program. Send him to jail. 6 different vehicles. Look, if he did it one time and he was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. After I did it, I just totally regret it. Yada, 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 what have you. But the guy did it to 6 different vehicles. The guy has no remorse. He's doing it because he knows he can get away with it. Send his butt to jail and be done with it. Minnesota police are allegedly unhappy with the Hennepin County Attorney's Office decision not to seek criminal charges in this case. I can understand why. 6 different cars. And then they do their due diligence in investigating the crime and finding the guy, arresting him, what have you. And then he just gets let off. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. This kind of crap should not be happening. The Minneapolis Police Department did its job. It identified and investigated a crime, identified and arrested a suspect, and presented a case file to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for consideration of charges. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said in a statement, this case impacted at least 6 different victims and totaled over $20,000 in damage. Any frustration related to the charging decision of the Hennepin County Attorney should be directly solely at her office. Yes. Ugh. Okay. There is that humming. I see it coming up on the audio capture. I don't know what it's from. No, it's not that. I don't think it's that. It's got to be something on the computer. I might have to look into that later. But anyway, I digress. During a news conference on April 17th, Minneapolis police showed videos of a suspect keying several Tesla vehicles. According to O'Hara, the acts constituted felonies, with each act causing a minimum of $1,000 in damage. I don't understand why you can't hold this person accountable just because. Look, the only thing I can see possible is the fact that if he's in jail, he can't pay for the damages. That's the only thing that I can think of as to why you wouldn't want this person held accountable. That's it. But still, I'd put him in jail. That's anyway. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Mariota is no stranger to controversies. In October 23, Mariota was criticized for controversial plea deals that upset families of murder victims and sparked concerns from legal experts. Look, it doesn't surprise me. This person is an activist judge who has supposedly been put on the bench by a Soros. You know, she's a Soros judge. And it doesn't surprise me that look, these types of people, they want the criminals on the streets. They want chaos. So they get these criminals, murderers, they get lighter sentences and lower bonds, that kind of stuff, what have you. Excuse me. Anyway, Tesla vehicles and properties across the country have become targets for vandals. In many cases, the attacks occur as protests against Tesla CEO Elon Musk work in the Trump administration. In March, the DOJ began going after Tesla vandals. Attorney General Pam Bondi said the wave of attacks was nothing short of domestic terrorism and ensured that perpetrators would face consequences. Not in this case, apparently. Maybe, I mean, I don't know what kind of authority the Trump administration would have as far as like maybe stepping in on this and doing something on their own. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just a state issue and the federal government cannot be involved. I don't know. I don't know the legal. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legal rights as far as what they would be able to do. I'm not sure. But accountability has to be part of it just has to be there. These people getting away with this stuff. In March, when the DOJ began going after Tesla vandals, attorney, yeah, we read that part. Fox News Digital reached out to Adams' attorney, Robert Paul, the Minneapolis Police Department, Hennepin County Attorney's Office, and Walsh's office, and I'm sure none of them got back to you. But, like I said, accountability. I do not understand why you cannot hold these people accountable. It's beyond me. If you don't hold them accountable, they will continue to do this kind of crap. Just because this guy supposedly he works in the Walsh's, office, what have you, so they can't deal justice. They can't. I mean, I don't understand. Make it make sense. Anyway, but there are some things happening that these Tesla vandals. Apparently, as long as you don't work for one of these people in a position of power, then you still can face consequences. So if you don't work for the governor, if you don't work for one of these big lawyers, whatever, what have you, you're still going to face consequences. Now, this story is a bit funny to me because of the fact that these people who are vandalizing this Tesla dealership are climate activists. The very same people that were pushing the EVs are now attacking Tesla dealerships. Now, granted, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not a fan of the EVs. I probably will never own one. I can't say I never will. Maybe I will, but I very highly doubt it. But that being said, the EVs, as far as being good for the environment, look, in most cases, these electric vehicles have to be on the roads like 150 years just to make up for the damage that they did to the environment, just making that one vehicle. It takes a lot from the environment just to make the batteries for these vehicles. Now they have made strides. You can now actually you can dispose of properly for, safely for the environment as far as the batteries go. You can have them recycled, what have you. But just to make the vehicle costs a lot to the environment. So I've never understood why they push the EVs so much when it costs the environment so much just to make the car. That being said, I'm rambling and I digress again. But anyway, these Tesla attacks, this was where was this? I'm drawing a blank on where this was. I forget. I want to say it was New York. I think it was New York. But anyway, take a look at this. They are vandalizing, writing graffiti on the windows. Now there was arrests made here, and rightfully so. But take a look at this. Look, one of the funniest things about this is, as I said before, these are climate activists. This guy's shirt, on the back of this shirt, says climate change equals mass murder. They're climate activists. The very same people, again, the very same people who are pushing for EVs. Now they hate Elon Musk. Why? Because he took a political position that they did not like. That's it. That's all he did. Look, it doesn't make sense to me. Again, this is the very same people we're fighting for climate change and we're pushing EVs. Now they can't stand it. It doesn't make sense. You let me know what you think. Here's the actual video of them when they're actually getting arrested, and rightfully so. They should be charged with vandalism, destruction of property, perhaps trespassing. We'll see about that. I don't know about that one, but we'll see. Good.
I'm your police liaison. Call me Wolf. Any questions you have, I'm right here to answer for you. Non-violent action.
Why are you being arrested? Why? Yeah.
Because people do not consent to unelected fascists. And this is Earth Day. Earth Day started with direct action. This is what it's about. Taking action because we don't consent, and we have power when we don't consent.
Move out of
Guys!
here.
Back off, back off. Happily said that. Thank you, we appreciate it. Is this enough?
Good. They should be arrested. I'm fine with this. Somebody please tell me. Okay. Somebody let me know how Elon Musk is being a fascist. Somebody can let me know because I don't see it. Somebody tell me how Elon Musk is a fascist. Because he's cleaning up the government and finding waste and fraud within the federal government. Tell me how that's a fascist, because I don't get it. Anyway, trying to fix this this little humming feedback, whatever it is. I don't know. We'll see though.
Yes, you do. If I told you what I'm going to do,
Guys, use the sidewalk, please.
Yeah, it's still there. I don't know. It's still there. I don't know. Maybe it's I gotta fix something maybe. We'll see. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Now, again, that's all I got for that one. But people are still being arrested, and rightfully so, like I said. But I don't in this certain aspect with these people just doing the vandalism, I mean, I would call it destruction of property. But I'm I'm not a lawyer, but you know, I don't think that you should throw the book at somebody like this. Maybe perhaps, the guy that keyed up and did destruction of a vehicle, 6 different vehicles. Maybe there should be higher consequences for that guy. Just my opinion. But like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but I think that guy should go to jail. These guys, give them a fine, send them on their way. Vandalism, just spraying graffiti on the windows. It can be I think it can be fairly easily cleaned up. I don't know. I've never taken graffiti off of a window, so maybe it's harder than I think. But I don't think that these ones should go to jail. But an arrest record should be put on file. They do it again, maybe jail time after that. Just what I think. You let me know what you think. Anyway, we'll move on to Tim Pool. Tim Pool was in the press pool at the White House, and he called out the mainstream media for their lies about what he called the Maryland man hoax, because of the fact that they're running with the narrative that the MS-13 gangbanger who was deported to El Salvador. I've covered it before, and y'all know my thoughts about it. So he got to go to the press pool, but he called out the mainstream media, and I'm here for it. I think he did a fantastic job. And Caroline Levitt, she introduces him, and I'm happy for the guy. I'm glad that he got to do that. Like I said, I've applied to go. Don't think I'll get it because I don't have a big enough following. Maybe one day, we'll see. But I don't have the following that Tim Pool does. Not even close. So I'm very, 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 very small fry compared to the audience that Tim Pool has. So, but Tim Pool got to go to the press pool, and Caroline Levitt here, she introduces him, and we'll get into what he said, and I'll give you my thoughts on it, and I'll let you know what other people are thinking about it too. So here we go with this.
Enjoying your rest. All right,
This one's
let's
a little
get to
quiet.
it. We have a individual in our new media seat today. His name is Tim Pool. He's a political commentator and a media entrepreneur with millions of followers, a very big platform. Currently hosts Timcast IRL, a daily news and discussions show, and The Culture War, a weekly podcast exploring cultural and political issues. His programs feature in-depth conversations on topics such as free speech, censorship, identity politics, and societal change, often engaging with a diverse range of guests. He's in Washington today because we are also hosting a local media row across the street in the Eisenhower building, which is a testament to our commitment to bring new voices into the White House to cover the president and this administration. So, Tim, why don't you kick us off today?
All right, so I think that's pretty cool. Tim Pool, he did talk to apparently in the new media row or whatever she called it. I forget, but he did talk to other people. He talked to I think it was Pete Hegseth. I'm not sure. I couldn't really see the guy's face, but he talked to a guy. I think it was, like I said, I think it was Pete Hegseth. He also talked to Kristi Noem, which apparently those interviews, those discussions, they'll be coming out this weekend, as far as I understand it. I'm excited to watch those. That should be pretty cool. I'd like to see what he asks them, that kind of thing, what their responses are. But I'm excited for that. But I digress. Anyway, so Tim Pool, she says, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? Introduced him, what have you. Like I said, I'm excited for the guy. Wish I could be there, but maybe one day. So his question called out the mainstream media on their narrative about the Maryland man, the Maryland father, what have you. He called it the Maryland man hoax. And again, like I said, I'm here for it anytime. And these people are pissed. They're not happy about this guy being there. and calling them out on their BS. So, but we'll take a look at this.
Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on that unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
That was pretty good. My opinion, I mean, like I said, my opinion doesn't hold a lot of sway, but I think that was pretty rad. He called out their BS and all the crap that they're, I mean, like I said, the spewing that the spewing of the whole Maryland Man hoax, as he calls it, what have you, should be called out, in my opinion. These people are running with a narrative, and they are not happy that he was there. They're not happy that they called him out. That called them out on their BS, and he straight up called it the Maryland Man hoax. I mean, he said on his show last night that he had a lot more that he could. I mean, the Fine People on Both Sides hoax, the Russia hoax. These people just peddle anything they can because they cannot give Donald Trump a win. They cannot let him have anything. It's just not. They can't do it. They just will not have it. Anyway, let's hear what she said in response. And y'all, like I said, you guys let me know what you think about it. I was ecstatic about the fact that he called them out, and the fact that they're PO'd at this guy about this. I think it's hilarious, but
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the reasons we have you in here, and there's many new faces in this room in comparison to the previous administrations. We want to welcome all viewpoints into this room. We welcome unbiased journalists who really care about the truth and the facts and the accuracy, and you rightfully pointed out the Maryland Man story, which I, from this podium, when The Atlantic published it, on that very first day, I came to this podium and said, this is wrong. The press in this room have this story wrong, and we have seen more and more evidence come to the table that we have had all along. We were always right. The president was always on the right side of this issue to deport this illegal criminal from our community. And it is despicable to see the media continue to refer to this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland. This was and always has been an illegal criminal, an MS-13 gang member, and a designated foreign terrorist. And the administration maintains our position to deport these individuals from our community. So thank you for being here, Tim. It's great to see you.
anyway, there you go. Like I said, I'm all for it. I'm glad he called them out. I'm totally fine with him calling them out because somebody needs to call them out. Now you see it quite a bit on X and what have you, but for him to be there and do it straight to their faces like that hasn't happened up until now. I think it's fantastic. I give the guy props. I am a fan of Tim. I do watch him quite a bit. Not every day, but I watch him quite a bit. I'm a fan of his show. I like what he does. I like the fact that he brings on counter arguments and left-wing people as well as right-wing. He doesn't have a lot of left on there because for some reason they won't go on. I think most of the time, mostly just because of the fact that he will destroy them. The guy is a lot smarter than I am. But I digress. People like Harry Sisson don't like the fact that he was on there, and they're attacking him for anything and everything. Now, if you remember correctly, back when Zelensky came to the White House, Tim was one of the people that said, look, he should have been wearing a suit, yada, yada, yada. Fine, I don't care. I'm pretty sure I was one of the ones that said, I don't care what the guy wears. As long as he's there and he signs the, the deal that they had on the table for him for the minerals deal, which was good for everybody. He still hasn't signed it, as far as I understand it. But that's not even, anyway. I don't care what he wears. I don't care if he was in a suit. I don't care if he was in a t-shirt. I don't care what they look like. Personally, I think if you're going to meet the president, you should probably dress a little nicer. That's just my opinion. But honestly, I don't care what they wear. But Harry Sisson attacked him for, look at this. Now, Harry Sisson says Tim Pool cried about President Zelensky not wearing a suit when he met with Trump, but this is how Tim Pool showed up to the White House today, zip-up jacket and a beanie. Maybe he shouldn't be such a hypocrite. Look, and I will say, Tim Pool has met with President Trump during the election, when he was campaigning for the presidency during this last campaign. When he met with President Trump, I believe he was wearing a suit. You can go back and check on that for me if you want. You can, tell me, look, you're wrong, whatever. But I'm pretty sure, and like he says right here, I was wearing a suit. Look, no, Harry, you don't get it. I intentionally did not dress up for these dirty, dirty smear merchants. When I met Trump, I wore a suit. So there you go. Honestly, like I said, I don't care what you're wearing. To go into the press pool, I'm not sure I would have dressed up. Maybe a polo shirt and some blue jeans. Maybe. I wouldn't have dressed up. Not for the press pool. If I was going to meet President Trump, sure, I'd put a suit on. I'd have to buy a jacket. I don't have a suit. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there either. Like I said, there's people attacking him from the left and the right. I think he did a fantastic job. I think calling them out on their BS was a good move. Something that, I think it was justified, especially right to their faces. They are not happy about this, but that's just because they got called out on their BS. So anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll just move on to RFK Jr. and the artificial dyes in our food. Now, as I said in the beginning, I'm one who, not always, I could stand to lose some few pounds. I'm actually trying to do so as we speak, but I haven't done it a lot before. But I have been more proactive as far as checking labels for stuff that I don't want to put into my body, artificial dyes, what have you, sweeteners, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not always. I mean, there's I'll still like buy some stuff that I shouldn't, and then throw it into my body. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Nobody is. But I'm okay with this. I'm for getting rid of the artificial dyes that are not good for you. I mean, a lot of the red dye number 5 is bug paste. I don't want that in my body. I don't. But anyway, RFK Jr. says that he's gonna apparently he wants to have it gone by next year. Again, I'm okay with it. I don't want my kids eating it. I don't want to eat it. I don't want anybody else to eat it. It's unhealthy. And I think a lot of the fact that it's not the entire thing. I won't say the whole reason why the United States has an obesity problem is because of artificial dyes and what have you. I won't say that that's the entire problem because it's not. But I will say that I'm okay with him doing away with this stuff because I don't want it in my body. I don't want my kids eating it. So anyway, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, this is from Post Millennial, by the way, and FDA Commissioner Marty McCary announced on Tuesday that petroleum-based synthetic dyes will be eliminated from medications and the nation's food supply by the end of 2026. This includes those found in candy, soft drinks, desserts, breakfast cereals, and jams. Now, I mean, you should probably limit your intake on that kind of stuff anyway. I don't think, I mean, and you shouldn't be buying that stuff in bulk, what have you. I mean, you should limit yourself on that kind of stuff regardless. But anyway, I digress. The agency said it would set a standard and deadline for the industry to transition to natural alternatives and take action to remove remaining colors from the market. The FDA intends to revoke authorization for dyes that are not in production within the coming weeks. Now, what is wrong with now? A lot of these dyes that they put into this food, it's just for the coloring. Tell me, would you be okay if your food, say it was strawberry flavored, but you've got artificial dyes in it? So would you be okay if the artificial dye wasn't in it? Say it's just like white or clear or a different color altogether. Well, whatever. So if it's not red or a pinkish color, but they say it's strawberry, but it's like brown or white or clear, would that bother you? It wouldn't bother me. If I wanted a strawberry flavor and whatever I was eating, it was just like clear or white or a different color, I don't care as long as it tastes good. You let me know. Does it have to be red, pink, in order to be considered a strawberry flavor? I mean, I'd be okay with it not being a strawberry color. I'm fine with it. It doesn't have to be red. If it's clear and it tastes like a strawberry, I'm fine with it. I don't want the artificial dyes in our food. You let me know. Anyway, let's see. So let's take a look at this. I believe this is what's his name, Marty. Yeah. So we'll take a look at what he says here. Let me I've been muting this because of that humming feedback I'm getting, but let me wait till it goes away. I'll unmute this and I'll play this video. Here we go.
Today, the FDA is taking action to remove petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply and from medications. For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals. The scientific community has conducted a number of studies raising concerns about the correlation between petroleum-based synthetic dyes and several health conditions, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, cancer, genomic disruption, GI issues, as I've seen in the hospital, and allergic reactions. For example, this Lancet study conducted a randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled study on food dyes and concluded that artificial colors in the diet, quote, result in increased hyperactivity. So why are we taking a gamble?
It's a good question. Why are we taking a gamble? That alone increased hyperactivity. I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, there's a lot of sugar in these things. Well, that's true too, yes. I think we should go to real sugar and not use the fake stuff as well. Maybe that's something that somebody else can bring up to RFK Jr. Just use real sugar. But anyway, today the FDA is taking action to remove petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply and from medications. Why is it in medications? Somebody answer me that question, because I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I'm not a pharmacist. Why are these things in pills that we have to take? That makes no sense to me. For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals. The scientific community has conducted a number of studies raising concerns about the correlation between petroleum-based synthetic dyes and several health conditions, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, cancer, genomic disruption, GI issues, and allergic reactions. If that being the case, it's wild. Okay, that's another reason why you should check what you're putting into your body, into your kids' body. I don't want my kid. I try to get the best, healthiest stuff for my kids. Now I do get them treats, get them a candy bar here and there, but it's not something that they're going to consume every single day. I don't want my kids eating it. I want them to be the healthiest, strongest kids that they can be. Anyway, petroleum-based dyes are used to color food and medication products. Why? Why does it have to be colored? Again, just go back to my former question. Would it bother you if it wasn't colored? As long as it tastes like what it's supposed to taste like, who cares what color it is? Am I alone in this? Does it really matter that it has to be red for strawberry, pink for watermelon, green for apple or, sour apple, or black for licorice, or whatever the case may be? Does it really matter that it has to be that color? I don't care. If it takes the toxins out of the food, then I don't care what color it is. I don't. As long as it tastes good. I don't care what color it is. I don't even know. Why did it come about? Why did it have to? I don't know. Somebody let me know. Anyway, health advocates have long advocated for the elimination of artificial food dyes, citing a varied body of research that suggests that may add to behavioral issues in children, such as hyperactivity and attention deficits, the AP reported. In March, Kennedy met with executives of big food corporations, including PepsiCo, Kraft, Heinz, Tyson, General Mills, and Kellogg's, and informed them that certain artificial food dyes would be eliminated from the food supply in the next 2 years. Good. Again, I'm for it. I don't, if you're okay with it, you can let me know. I don't know why you would be. But again, during the press brief, RFK Jr. said, I was talking to my staff about these petroleum-based dyes, and I said, if they want to eat petroleum, they ought to add it themselves at home. They shouldn't be feeding it to the rest of us. It's a good point. Anyway, let's see. We'll take a look at this. Let me well, it's going off. Let me wait till it goes off again. I'll unmute it, and we'll play this clip from RFK Jr. Let's see. Any day now. I don't know what it's doing. I'm going to have to look into it. There we go.
When I met with, and I want to commend the food companies for working with us to achieve this agreement or this settlement. And when I went in a few months or about a month ago to meet with a few food companies, I was talking with my staff about these petroleum-based dyes, and I said if they want to add petroleum, if they want to eat petroleum, they ought to add it themselves at home.
That's a good point.
But they shouldn't be feeding it to the rest of us.
Yes.
And without our knowledge or consent. And unfortunately, we are going to get rid of the dyes, and then one by one, we're going to get rid of every ingredient and additive in food that we can legally address.
Yeah, in schools is a big thing for me. Especially, I mean, if you've got kids in school and they're eating school lunches, I don't think that they should be eating this crap. Again, there's a lot of people that argue the fact that, look, it's America, we have that choice. If we want to eat unhealthy foods, that's fine. Okay. I'll take that argument all day long. But at the same time, I will let you know that, okay, if that's the case, then why can't we just, like, say, as an example, I'll take cereal. Cereal's got a lot of different, like, food dyes. Like, take like Fruit Loops, for example. All that stuff, like, just take the coloring out. It doesn't have to be different colors, because you want to simulate the different colors of the so-called fruits that Fruit Loops represent. If Fruit Loops were all white, as long as it tasted like fruit, I don't care. But at least give the option, okay? So people say, well, we should have the option. This is America. We have the right to choose if we want to put something bad into our bodies. Fine. I'll take that argument. On the other side, just give me the choice. If I want Fruit Loops that doesn't have dyes in it, then I should be able to buy Fruit Loops that doesn't have dyes. So make one that does have it and one that doesn't. Give me the choice to make. But because you don't have that choice. All these cereals in the US have these food dyes in them. Pop-Tarts is another good example. Now, I do have a choice. Now, I have found a different brand. It's not Pop-Tart. It's a different brand. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I know the box, what it looks like when I see it at the store. That's what I buy. It doesn't have synthetic dyes or, red dye number 5 or the strawberry, what have you. It's got natural strawberry preserves in it. There's nothing artificial about it. It's all natural. And it actually costs less than the actual Pop-Tart brand. That's what I buy. That's what I let my kids eat. That's what if I want a quick snack, I'll grab one of those Pop-Tarts. It's all natural. There's nothing, still not like the healthiest thing that you could eat, sure. But it is a good quick snack, and it doesn't have anything unnatural, these preservatives, the bad for you red dye number 5. Chemical dyes. It doesn't have any of that stuff in it. Now, like I said, that's a good example because I know where I can buy that. I know it's actually cheaper than the Pop-Tart brand, and that's what I buy because it doesn't have none of that fake crap in it. So that's all I'm saying. Give me a choice. If you want to eat stuff that's unhealthy for you, fine. That's on you. But at least let me have the choice of having an off option that doesn't have that crap in it. That's all I'm saying. While nominating Kennedy for the position, President Donald Trump said, at the time, the safety and health of all Americans is the most important role of any administration. I agree. And HHS will play a big role in helping ensure that everybody will be protected from harmful chemicals, pollutants, pesticides, pharmaceutical products, and food additives that have contributed to the overwhelming health crisis in this country. I agree. Now you can debate with me if you want to. There is an argument to be made. Look, it is personal choice on what you put into your body. But I think that a big proponent of the health crisis within America has to do with all the crap that's in our food. That's just what I think. You can make the argument against me to say otherwise. But that's just off of what I've seen, research that I've done. That's the conclusion that I come to. You can make the choice not to ingest that kind of stuff. That's your decision. But a lot of people don't have the time to look into that kind of stuff. A lot of people grab a quick meal and go on with their day because they don't have time. A lot of people work and then they come home to their families. They don't have time to do that other kind of stuff. Anyway, we'll move on to this last story. Now, this is the military. Now, the military numbers are up, and I'm all for this. Being a former military person, I was in the Navy. Everybody who knows me knows this, and I'm all for. Like, Obama gutted the military. Wasn't a fan of him. President Trump came into office, and the numbers skyrocketed again. Now, I was in way back when President Bush was in office. And I spent my time. It made me a better person, and I'm grateful to have done it. I think that the numbers going up, the fact that people actually want to serve and protect our country, is a good thing. And I'm all for President Trump upping the numbers as far as active duty people, what have you. Like I said, Obama gutted it because I remember I finished school and I wanted to go back into the military, trying to get through as an officer once I finished school. I thought that was a fantastic idea, but Obama had gutted the military and they weren't taking any officers at the time. And then, time passed on and I moved on to other things. So, but that being said, this is a little clip, and it's just showing that the military numbers across the board, military as far as the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Space Force, all these numbers are up. They're meeting their quotas as far as recruiting, and I think it's a good thing. I think that young people wanting to serve and protect is a good thing. And I think that doing away with the DEI, and I think that you can say what you want about the guy, but Pete Hegseth, being the younger man that he is, and actually going out there talking to troops, he participates in PT training with the troops. Younger people see that and say, hey, look at this younger guy. He's pretty cool. He's out there with his troops. He's supporting them. I think he's a good Secretary of Defense. People will say that he's not. There's all kinds of rumors flying around about the signal threads and all that kind of stuff, but there's no evidence to back it up as far as the second one goes. But take a look at this clip. This is just like I said. I'm all for this. I like to see the numbers of the military going up.
The Army, Air Force, Marines, you are up 108% in November, 119% in February, 108% after the election, 105% with the Navy.
This is wild. These are really good numbers, okay? And just think about where it was during Obama. It was way down, okay? Look at these numbers. Now, February of 25. For the Army, 115% of its goal. They attained 23,000 plus people. That's good numbers. Look at the Navy. They attained 16,201, 105% of their goal. This is fantastic numbers. I'm stoked to see these numbers. The Marines, they obtained 5,847, 100%, 106% of their goal. The Air Force, they attained 13,329, 100% of the goal. This is fantastic. I love to see this kind of stuff. And again, I will point out the fact that I think a lot of it has to do with Pete Hegseth and President Trump because they back the military. And again, people see Pete Hegseth out there talking to troops, talking to his soldiers, interacting with them, participating in PT events. It's a good look. People like to see that stuff. People are actually excited to serve their country again. It's a good thing, and I love to see this. Space Force obtained 100.1% of their goal. I actually have a friend of mine whose son is in the Space Force, and that his career is rolling. If you have a chance to join the Space Force, because they're still kind of they're low on numbers still. If you have a chance to join the Space Force, I say go for it, because my friend's son, man, he's gone up in rank like super fast, just rolling through the ranks. But anyway, I digress. But I think this is a good thing. We'll finish this clip out. Let me unmute this again, though. There we go.
With the Marines up 112% and 100%, they are through the roof. The U.S. Air Force, 100% of its goal, same thing in February. And Space Force is also booming, over 100%. I think the warfighters are happy to have a warfighter up top, Mr. Secretary. With all this controversy, everything swirling around, have you ever doubted your decision to take this job?
Oh, not for a minute. I didn't hesitate when the president asked me, and I haven't hesitated for a moment, because those numbers are a reflection of why we're here. We call it the Trump bump internally. The reality is, when warfighting and lethality is brought back, and it's serious, that what we're doing here is serious about getting after soldiering and warfighting, American people want to come back in. They want to sign up. These recruiting numbers don't surprise me. They don't surprise me one bit. They're a reflection of a yearning from the American public, of young people, to be proud of their country, to be proud of their military, to make sure when they serve, they're given everything they need. That's why I've fought for the budget that the Defense Department requires. And the president has said we'll have our first $1 trillion budget, because my kids, my 14-year-old, if he joins, he's going to have a great military. He's going to have peace through strength because of the historic investments of this president. So, no, I haven't blinked, and I won't blink, because this job is too big and too important for the American people, and I'm grateful for every hour.
Again, there you go. So, again, I will say I like Pete. I'm a fan of him. I've always been a fan of him. He's taken a lot of scrutiny from the left. A lot of it, a lot of it's been lies. I'll tell you right off bat, I covered it before the whole signal thread thing on the second time happening. It's bad. It's a bad look. If it's true, I don't think it is. You can say what you want, but I haven't seen any evidence to support the fact. I mean, the first one, when Goldberg was included in the thread, he actually posted, the conversations, which a lot of it was misinformation as far as the media goes, but that's a different story. I don't know. It was just lies that they were pushing out. None of it was supposedly classified, what have you. But now we got this second one where they said 4 different sources, but nobody actually wants to reveal sources or give evidence to the facts. So they're just saying that it happened. So I don't believe it, not until I see some kind of evidence. And again, I will say I like Pete. You can say what you want about the guy, but he's out there talking with troops. He's participating in the PT events. I like the guy. Anyway, so that I think that's all I got for today. Yeah, I think that's it. But hey, if you like what you saw, I appreciate you being here. You can hit that follow button, and check me out. I'm here every morning, 7:30 Eastern, live every morning, just ahead of the Rumble lineup. Again, I appreciate you being here. You can also follow me on X at The Political Ray. And again, appreciate you being here. I hope everybody has a fantastic Wednesday. God bless and take care of each other.